Greetings, it's Susie Q. I continue persevering with some of my automatic written pieces, my Akashic records, my soul messages, my galactic friends, my body messages, and everything else. So everything right now is working for me and assisting me. So I'm so proud to share some of these written pieces. So we'll get started right now. Be open to a whole new multiverse creating just for you. The spark within believes that this is so. In the spaciousness of ultimate potentiality, what now will you create? Cerebral cortex stands at attention. Your desires are met with an affirmative yes. Within your multiverse, your inner and outer landscapes shape shift at your own will. Healing hands, you the physician, hands on your heart and say, I love myself so much so that my body responds and mirrors my heart's desire to be joyfully abundant in all aspects of my life. I am free. I am sovereign. I manifest, yes. Within this jump across the pond of sorts, be open to being more bold these days. Claim what's next for you. Be loud. Be irreverent. Be the commander of your galactic sojourn here and access those resources. Bring this source energy into this experience. Be bold. Source energy is the wellspring of limitless expression. Adapt to concepts of joy that far exceed your own ideals of what it means to bring in the light. It's time. Draw in source energy in the form of your knowing. Receive that which has been waiting for you to more fully arrive to your truth. You are loved, you are loved, you are loved. Be it that. And so it is. All right. So we'll do another little piece here too. I'm not sure if that's the end of that one, but I'm going to go into another piece here. Crimson frequency pulsates the inner self to awaken. Like a tree from the ages, welcomes the roots to dive deeper. In the quietude, the essence of beingness reverberates across the cosmos. These frequencies of crimson delight broadcast the sound vibrations of these roots. Further down below, the waves signify a state of knowing. As pure sound springs forth, there too resides a semblance of an earlier life. An earlier state of happenstance rekindles the taste of crimson wine. All right, so still kind of working with some of these other transmissions and activations and looking at some of the words. So sometimes the words get in the way, but sometimes underneath that, there's some other energy that is supporting you or that you're realizing. And so when we were talking about this tree, that last piece that I did, it was so amazing when I was in this space with a friend going into Navajo country, and I was really challenged to go to one little space. It's called Chilchinbito, and we took this long ride, and it was over 2 days that we were finding some guidance, and so the Chilchinbito was a place where I was supposed to go to and have some level of experience. And when I went there, I realized that there's really nothing there. There's like a few little buildings, there's like a little neighborhood, but there was a gigantic ridge. And I was like, and then there was a cemetery. So my friend and I did some offerings at the cemetery. We did some blessings. We offered some things. I can't remember what I said. But we both did an offering there because we were like, well, there's nothing here, there's not much here, And then when we went back to the hotel that night, my friend said, well, she, so crazy, so crazy. She went to a topography, and she went to Chilchinbito, and she could see the ridge. Okay, so the ridge was really, really high, and it was kind of a rugged ridge there. And then she showed me this picture, and the picture was, she said, "What does this look like?" It was a topography piece. I was a real estate, broker for a long time, so I know about topography. But then I kept looking at it. She said, "What is that? What is it?" And then all of a sudden I realized that that energy from that Chilchinbito was actually above that ridge, and that ridge was a long ridge. And so when I looked at the topography, it was the tree of life. It was absolutely freaking amazing, that tree of life. When we're working with some of these other ways that we look at life, and we maybe have one version of, well, that didn't work, or, I couldn't see anything there. But then we go a little bit, we go underneath the story, we go underneath that energy or underneath those frequencies, and then we go a little bit deeper. And my friend had that wherewithal to go to the topography, and I'm like, she didn't know what it was. I'm like, it's the freaking tree of life. And it was all on that gigantic ridge. So I could not have seen it, but that's what brought to me was that tree of life going to Chilchinbito. And we had a lot of friends. We had a lot of people helping us. At some point, we didn't really even have our GPS on. We were just kind of in the desert, but we had helpers, so we're always getting more helpers to bring in more guidance. And so some of these activations and transmissions or these light energies are really supporting us. And even if we're thinking, nothing's working, or I'm not in the right place, I'm not in the right experience, I'm not with the right person, you start noticing that underneath all of these queries, or this, when we're looking at different things, is that there's something else conspiring to bring us more goodness. And so with some of these energies that I'm working with, it's a powerful force of energy. And even though I'm kind of goofy and silly, for the most part, but a lot of those frequencies are just really showing us that there's so much more to the story. Let's just say we had something that happened, good, bad, or indifferent, and then we start noticing that you kind of create a narrative, and then all of a sudden you go I think there's something else about that, something bad or strange happened. And then you start noticing that you go underneath some of these frequencies or some of these words or some of these states of being, that you start finding more guidance. And so some people might say, well, it's never working. This stuff isn't working for me, or it's not happening for me. I'm like, well, you're in the right spot right now, and there's going to be a few more things for you to understand. And so I always call people don't like me saying this, but I'm all in neutrality. So whatever it is, good, bad, or different, or wonderful, it's all in a neutral space. And I love sharing these activations, these transmissions, these states of, being, right? It's just really fascinating. And me writing these written pieces, they come in very quickly. So I go to the keyboard, I write it up, and I don't really do anything with it after that. I just write, and I did a few things with definitions, and how's that word, how do I spell that word. So I have to kind of take a little bit of time to pause a little bit, but I go straight into flow with writing, straight into flow. And the more that you can do this, and it could be like an inkling of a sound vibration, could be a person's voice, it could be some inspired thought. Just start accessing your guides. Your guides are here, they're freaking here, and they're ready to support you and love you and show you newer ways of being. There's all of these beautiful ways of accessing goodness. And so when I do it, it comes through I can kind of hear it from my right side, my right ear, and then I start getting all of these words, and then it flies. I mean, I'm just flying with words. And so I love sharing this material. I love engaging with people and encouraging people to hear that still small voice, that's right here. It's right within you, what's inside of you. And then you might be getting more guidance, more appreciation, more innate intelligence coming through. That innate intelligence right now is really strong. A lot of people are getting a lot more guidance going through with the innate intelligence. intelligence. So I'd really focus on some of these phrases. I'm working with innate intelligence. I'm working with harmonious energies. I'm working with wisdom and the wisdom of the ages. I'm working with my ancestors, past, present, future, concurrent running timelines as above, so below. We're working with all of that. So we'll see you soon, and namaste.